The sirens cut through Fifth Avenue like a blade. Inside Belmont and Grace Boutique, the air had gone still. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across marble floors. Near the counter, a black woman stood with her shoulders squared, an ivory blazer catching the overhead glow. Her fingers gripped a shopping bag, white knuckles against brown leather. Yes, she's still here, the store manager said into her phone, voice tight. Her name tag read Karen Duvall, manager. I need officers immediately. Customers pressed themselves against clothing racks. Whispers hissed through the silence. A teenager raised her phone, recording. An elderly woman clutched her pearls. The woman at the counter, Maya Robertson, didn't move. Her face remained composed, but her pulse hammered against her throat. She'd been here before. Different store. Same script. The glass doors burst open. 2 police officers entered, hands hovering near their belts. Radio static crackled. One officer, tall with graying temples, scanned the boutique. His eyes landed on Maya. Karen rushed forward. Thank God you're here. Her voice shook with manufactured urgency. Maya's breathing slowed. She counted backward from 10. Her father's voice echoed, Stay calm. Document everything. Don't give them ammunition. The officer approached. Ma'am, we received a call about suspicious activity. Maya met his gaze. There's been a misunderstanding. Karen's voice rose. She refused to show me what's in her bag. She's been acting... I've been shopping, Maya interrupted. Her tone measured steel. The boutique held its breath. 30 minutes earlier, Maya had been smiling. The September afternoon wrapped Manhattan in golden light. Maya Robertson, 42 years old and senior vice president at Hartwell Financial, walked Fifth Avenue with rare freedom. No conference calls, no quarterly reports. Just 3 hours of stolen time before dinner with her mother. She'd dressed carefully that morning, ivory blazer over a silk blouse, tailored navy pants, pearl earrings her father had given her before he died. Professional armor. She wore it even on days off. Belmont and Grace beckoned from across the street. Its windows displayed silk scarves in jewel tones. Maya remembered her mother admiring a lavender one months ago. Perfect for her 70th birthday next week, the boutique's interior gleamed. Soft jazz played through hidden speakers. The scent of vanilla and bergamot hung in the air. A few customers browsed racks of designer clothing. Behind the counter, Karen Duvall looked up from her computer. Their eyes met. Karen's smile tightened. Maya moved to the scarf display, running her fingers over silk textures. Emerald green. Royal blue. The lavender one shimmered under track lighting. She checked the price tag. $400. Expensive, but her mother deserved it. Maya barely noticed Karen's approach. The manager positioned herself 3 feet away, pretending to arrange a display. But Maya felt the surveillance. The heat of suspicion. She'd felt it in countless stores, boardrooms, airport lounges. She lifted the lavender scarf. Karen's gaze sharpened. Maya draped it over her arm and headed toward the counter. She carried a shopping bag from Shakespeare & Co., the bookstore next door. Inside was a first edition she'd bought for herself, a rare indulgence. Karen positioned herself behind the register. Find everything okay? The words were pleasant. The tone was not. Yes. Maya placed the scarf on the counter. Just this, please. Karen examined the scarf as if searching for defects. Her fingers moved slowly, deliberately. She glanced at Maya's shopping bag. Then at Maya's face. Back to the bag. That's a beautiful scarf, Karen said. Special occasion? My mother's birthday. Maya reached for her wallet. Karen didn't move to ring up the purchase. What store is that bag from? Maya paused. Shakespeare & Co., the bookstore. Karen's eyes narrowed. Mind if I see your receipt? The jazz music played on. A customer at the back of the store looked up. Maya's smile faded. Excuse me? Your receipt, Karen repeated. From the bookstore. Why would you need that? Karen's posture shifted. Store policy. We verify all bags brought in from outside. Maya had shopped here before. There was no such policy. She opened her wallet slowly, pulled out the bookstore receipt, placed it on the counter. Karen studied it like a forensic document. And what's in the bag? A book. Maya's voice dropped 10 degrees. Mind showing me? The boutique's atmosphere crystallized. 2 customers near the door exchanged glances. The teenager with the phone edged closer. I do mind, actually. Maya straightened. I've shown you my receipt. I'm here to purchase this scarf. Can we proceed? Karen's jaw tightened. Ma'am, I'm just trying to protect our merchandise. From what? A customer with a receipt. I've seen people conceal items in bags from other stores. Karen's voice rose. It's a common theft tactic. Maya felt heat crawl up her neck. This wasn't about tactics. It wasn't about policy. It was about the color of her skin in an upscale boutique on Fifth Avenue. I'm not stealing anything. Each word came out precise, controlled. Then you won't mind showing me the bag? I do mind. It's an invasion of my privacy. Karen crossed her arms. If you refuse to cooperate, I'll have to call security. Maya's hands trembled. She pressed them flat against the counter. 20 years in corporate America had taught her to swallow rage, to smile through microaggressions, to prove herself twice as hard. But standing here accused of theft for carrying a shopping bag, something snapped. Call whoever you want. Maya's voice carried across the boutique. I'm not showing you anything. I came here to buy a gift, not to be interrogated. Karen's face flushed. She grabbed her phone, dialed. The other customers froze. The elderly woman whispered to her companion. The teenager's phone was definitely recording now. Yes, I need police at Belmont and Grace on Fifth Avenue, Karen said into the phone. Her eyes never left Maya. I have a customer refusing to cooperate. She's acting suspicious. Yes, I'll stay on the line. Maya's world tilted. She'd been called many things in her life. Ambitious, intimidating, difficult, but never criminal. Never dangerous. She thought of her father. Civil rights attorney. Fighter of injustices exactly like this. She thought of her mother, who'd be receiving the news tonight instead of a birthday gift. She thought of every black person who'd been followed, questioned, accused in spaces they had every right to occupy. Her phone was in her blazer pocket. Her hand moved toward it. Maya's heartbeat filled her ears. Blood rushed hot beneath her skin. Around her the boutique seemed to warp. Crystal chandeliers became interrogation lights. Soft jazz became the soundtrack to her humiliation. Every face turned toward her, some curious, some uncomfortable, none intervening. She'd been here before. Different details, same architecture of discrimination. The department store security guard who followed her through cosmetics. The car dealership salesman who asked if she could afford the model she was viewing. The hotel clerk who verified her reservation 3 times. Each incident had left a mark. Small cuts that accumulated into scars. Her father's voice surfaced through the noise. Keep your receipts, Maya. Stay calm. Never give them a reason to escalate. Document everything. James Robertson had spent 40 years dismantling discrimination cases. He'd taught Maya that rage was a luxury black people couldn't afford in white spaces. That composure was armor. That evidence was the only language that mattered. Maya forced her breathing to slow. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Her hands steadied. She looked at Karen, still on the phone with 911. The manager's expression was a mixture of righteousness and fear. She believed she was protecting her store. She didn't see her own bias. Maya glanced at the other customers. A white woman in a cobalt blue dress clutched designer bags. 3 of them from different stores. No one had asked to search her belongings. A man in expensive sneakers had entered with a backpack. No one questioned him, but Maya, in her tailored ivory blazer and pearl earrings, was a threat. The teenager was still recording. Good. Let there be witnesses. Let there be evidence. Maya's hand closed around her phone. She pulled it out slowly, deliberately. Opened the camera app. Hit record. The power in the room shifted. Maya's father had been a giant of a man. Not in stature, he stood 5'9", but in presence. James Robertson walked into courtrooms like he owned them. He'd grown up in Alabama during Jim Crow, watched his mother denied service at lunch counters, saw his father pulled over by police for imaginary violations. He'd carried those wounds north to New York, transformed them into purpose. Baby girl, he'd told Maya when she was 12, the world will try to make you smaller. Don't let it. He'd taught her to document everything, keep receipts, save emails, record conversations in public spaces, legal in New York, essential for survival. He taught her that silence was complicity and that speaking up required preparation. Maya had absorbed every lesson. She'd risen through Hartwell Financial with meticulous competence. She never missed deadlines, never gave anyone ammunition. She was always twice as prepared, twice as professional, twice as polished as her white colleagues. She'd thought it would be enough. That excellence would insulate her. That success would earn her the benefit of the doubt. But standing in Belmont and Grace, accused of theft for the crime of shopping while black, she understood. No amount of success could protect her from assumptions coded in skin color. Her father had died 5 years ago. Heart attack at 67. His last case had been against a department store chain that systematically targeted black shoppers for searches. He'd won. The settlement had been substantial. This isn't about money, he'd said during the trial. It's about dignity. It's about looking in the mirror and knowing you fought back. Maya thought of him now, pictured his steady gaze, his measured voice, the way he dismantled discriminatory arguments with precision and facts. She raised her phone. "I'm recording this," she said clearly. "For my protection," Karen noticed, faltered, but kept talking to the dispatcher. Maya's voice remained calm. "I'm in Belmont and Grace Boutique on 5th Avenue. The manager has called 911 because I refused to let her search my shopping bag from another store. I have receipts for everything I'm carrying. I have not stolen anything. I am recording for documentation purposes." She turned the camera toward Karen. "Please state your name and position." Karen's face went red. "I don't have to. You called the police on me. I have the right to document this interaction." The teenager stepped closer, her own phone raised. The elderly woman whispered urgently to her companion. The man with the backpack edged toward the door. Maya felt something crystallize inside her. This moment wasn't just about a scarf. It was about every black person who'd been profiled and stayed silent. Every indignity swallowed. Every humiliation endured in the name of not making waves. Her father's legacy demanded more. Maya's gaze swept the boutique with new focus. Her legal training kicked in. Evidence, witnesses, documentation, security cameras. She spotted 3. One above the entrance, one behind the counter, one covering the scarf display, all of them capturing this encounter. Her phone was still recording. The teenager's phone too. Multiple angles, multiple witnesses. Maya opened her wallet with deliberate precision, placed her business card on the counter. Then her corporate ID, Hartwell Financial logo prominent. Then the bookstore receipt. Each item landed with quiet authority. Karen glanced down. Her eyes caught on the business card. Maya Robertson, Senior Vice President, Institutional Investments. The manager's expression flickered. Uncertainty crept in. Maya's voice cut through the jazz music. "I'm a senior executive at Hartwell Financial. I came here to purchase a $400 scarf for my mother's birthday. At what point did I become suspicious?" Karen's mouth opened, closed. "I have to protect the store's inventory by racially profiling your customers." "I didn't. That's not. You saw a black woman with a shopping bag and assumed criminal intent." Maya's voice was surgical. "Would you have demanded to search her bag?" She gestured to the white woman in the cobalt blue dress. The woman quickly looked away. Karen's face drained of color. "This isn't about race." "Then what is it about? Please explain." The boutique was silent except for the faint music and the crackle of Karen's phone. The 911 dispatcher's voice murmured something. Karen lifted the phone back to her ear, but her confidence was crumbling. Maya caught the teenager's eye. Mouthed 2 words, "Keep recording." The girl nodded. Maya thought of her father's courtroom strategy. Build the case piece by piece. Let the evidence speak. Give them nowhere to hide. She had multiple recordings, multiple witnesses, corporate credentials, receipts, security footage, and she had something else, knowledge. She knew the law. She knew her rights. More importantly, she knew her worth. The glass doors opened. 2 police officers entered. Maya straightened her blazer, placed her phone on the counter, still recording. When the officers approached, she was ready. "Good afternoon, officers," she said calmly. "Thank you for coming. I'd like to report a false accusation." Karen's eyes went wide. "What? No, You called 911 on a customer for carrying a shopping bag." Maya's voice was steady. "I have receipts for every item in my possession. I have not stolen anything. I believe I've been racially profiled." The lead officer, gray-haired and cautious, looked between them. "Ma'am, can you show me what's in the bag?" Maya nodded, opened the Shakespeare-encumbered bag, pulled out a first edition of James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time. The receipt was still tucked inside. The officer examined it, noted the timestamp, 15 minutes before Maya entered the boutique. He handed it back. "And you were attempting to purchase this scarf?" He gestured to the lavender silk still on the counter. "Yes." Maya placed her credit card beside it. "Before I was accused of theft." The officer turned to Karen. "What was your suspicion based on?" Karen stammered. She was acting suspicious. She had a bag from another store. I asked to see it and she refused. Is it store policy to search customers' bags?" Karen hesitated. "Well, no, but then what gave you probable cause to believe she'd stolen something?" Silence. The officer's expression shifted. He'd seen this before. Maya made a decision. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to a contact. Hit dial. The phone rang once, twice. "Marcus, it's Maya. I need you at Belmont and Grace on 5th Avenue, now." She hung up. Looked at Karen. "Who did you just call?" Karen's voice cracked. Maya's expression was unreadable. "My attorney. He's also the CEO of Hartwell Financial's legal division. We're one of this boutique's largest institutional investors. Our fund underwrites your corporate credit lines." The color drained from Karen's face completely. The officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, do you want to file a formal complaint?" "Yes," Maya said. "I do." The glass doors opened again. A man in a sharp charcoal suit strode in, briefcase in hand. Marcus Chen, corporate attorney and Maya's colleague for 15 years. His eyes swept the scene, landed on Maya, then on the officers, then on Karen. "Someone want to explain," Marcus said quietly, "why my friend and colleague is being detained?" The boutique went silent. Karen's mouth opened. No words came out. The lead officer gestured to Marcus. "And you are?" "Marcus Chen, General Counsel, Hartwell Financial." He pulled out his business card. "I believe there's been a serious misunderstanding, one that's about to become a legal issue." Maya felt something release in her chest. Not relief, not yet. But the balance of power had shifted. Karen looked between Maya and Marcus, between the officers and the security cameras, between the recording phones and the watching customers. She'd made a choice 30 minutes ago. Now she'd have to live with the consequences. Karen's laugh came out strangled. "This is a misunderstanding. I was simply following—" "Following what?" Marcus interrupted. His voice was scalpel sharp. "Store policy that doesn't exist?" The second police officer stepped forward, younger, with careful eyes. "Let's clarify the situation. Ma'am," he nodded to Karen, "you called 911 because this customer refused to let you search her bag." "She was acting suspicious," Karen repeated. The words sounded hollow now. "How?" Marcus asked. "Please be specific." Karen's gaze darted around the boutique. She came in with a bag from another store. She was browsing for a long time. She seemed nervous. "Nervous?" Maya's voice cut through. Or black. That's not, I would never. Karen's face flushed. I treat all customers equally. Marcus turned to the white woman in the cobalt blue dress. Excuse me, ma'am. How many bags are you carrying? The woman clutched her 3 shopping bags closer. 3. Did anyone ask to search them? No. Marcus looked at the man with the backpack. Sir, did anyone question what you're carrying? The man shook his head, edged toward the door. The younger officer made notes. His partner's expression had shifted from neutral to concerned. Karen tried again. Look, I apologize if there was confusion. Sometimes we're overly cautious. Loss prevention is part of my job. Loss prevention or racial profiling? Marcus opened his briefcase. Because from where I'm standing, this looks like textbook discrimination. The lead officer cleared his throat. Ms. Robertson, what outcome are you looking for? Maya met his gaze. I want to file a formal complaint. I want the security footage preserved. And I want a conversation with the boutique owner. Karen's eyes went wide. The owner? That's not necessary. We can resolve this. We're past resolution. Maya's voice was ice. You called the police on me for shopping. That's not something an apology can fix. The teenager stepped forward, phone still raised. I recorded the whole thing. Karen accused her before she even saw what was in the bag. The elderly woman spoke up, voice trembling. I saw it too. She targeted her immediately. Witnesses, evidence, truth rising like floodwater. Karen's composure cracked. Please, I made a mistake. Let's just move past this. Marcus closed his briefcase. Oh, we're moving. Straight to a discrimination complaint. The lead officer nodded to his partner. Get the owner's contact information. Karen looked like she might be sick. The younger officer walked to the counter. I need the boutique owner's name and number. Karen's hands shook as she reached for the phone. Mr. Hartwell doesn't usually handle... Marcus froze. Did you say Hartwell? Yes, Richard Hartwell. He owns the boutique. Maya felt ice slide down her spine. Richard Hartwell. Board member. Hartwell Financial had been named after his grandfather. Marcus's expression went carefully blank. He glanced at Maya. This just got complicated. The lead officer took the phone from Karen, dialed, waited. Mr. Hartwell, this is Officer Davis, NYPD. We have a situation at your Fifth Avenue boutique that requires your immediate attention. A pause. Then, yes, sir. Right away. Officer Davis hung up. Here's 10 minutes out. The boutique felt airless. Maya's mind raced. Richard Hartwell was old money, old guard. He'd been polite to her at company events. Respectful, but she'd never been alone with him. Never needed anything from him. Now she was about to accuse his employee of racial profiling in his store, with police present. This could go very wrong. Marcus leaned close. Whispered, "You want to proceed." Maya thought of her father, of every person who'd been profiled and stayed silent to protect their careers, of the teenager still recording, of the truth on security footage. Yes, she whispered back. Karen paced behind the counter. Mr. Hartwell will understand. He knows I take security seriously. He'll support me. The elderly woman made a small sound. He shouldn't. 10 minutes felt like hours. Customers filtered out, uncomfortable. The teenager stayed. So did the elderly woman and her companion. Witnesses refusing to abandon ship. Finally, the glass doors opened. Richard Hartwell entered. Silver-haired, patrician, 70 years old and radiating authority. He wore a 3-piece suit and an expression of controlled concern. His eyes found Maya first. Recognition flickered. Then confusion. Then carefully concealed alarm. Ms. Robertson. His voice was smooth. I wasn't expecting. What's happened here? Officer Davis stepped forward. Explained the situation in clinical terms. Customer accusation. Refusal to comply. 911 call. Potential discrimination complaint. Richard's face remained neutral. He turned to Karen. Is this accurate? Karen straightened. Mr. Hartwell, I was following protocol. She had a bag from another store and refused to show me the contents. I had to protect our inventory. We don't have a protocol for searching customer bags, but I thought... So you thought wrong. Richard's voice dropped 10 degrees. He turned to Maya. May I speak with you privately? Marcus stepped closer to Maya. Anything you say to my client should be said here with witnesses present. Richard nodded slowly. Of course, Ms. Robertson, I apologize for this incident. I assure you this is not how we conduct business. With respect, Mr. Hartwell, Maya said carefully, your employee called the police on me for carrying a shopping bag. This isn't about business conduct. It's about discrimination. Richard's jaw tightened. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation. The room held its breath. Richard looked at the security camera above the counter, at the teenager's phone, at the officers taking notes. At Marcus's attorney face he was calculating. Maya could see it. Weighing optics, liability, board implications. She'd seen that calculation before, in boardrooms and conference calls. When powerful men decided how much justice was convenient. I need to review the security footage, Richard said finally. Agreed, Marcus replied. We'd like to review it as well. Richard gestured toward the back office. This way, Maya followed. Marcus beside her, the officers behind them. Karen trailing last face ashen. The teenager called out, I'm staying here. I'm a witness. Maya glanced back, nodded. Thank you. In the back office, Richard pulled up the security system, multiple camera angles loaded on a split screen. He scrolled to timestamp 35 minutes prior. Maya watched herself enter the boutique, smiling, relaxed, browsing, scarves. She watched Karen's face harden the moment. She saw the shopping bag. She watched the entire encounter unfold in silent footage. Karen approaching. Maya reaching for the scarf. Karen's questions. Maya's confusion. The escalation. The 911 call frame by frame. Angle by angle, undeniable. Richard's face went pale. He clicked on audio. Karen's voice came through clearly. I need police at Belmont and Grace, a suspicious black woman refusing to cooperate. The words hung in the air. Marcus leaned forward. Play that again. Richard did. The audio was damning. A suspicious black woman. Not just a customer, not just a woman, black. The identifier came first. The justification for suspicion. Maya felt vindication and exhaustion war inside her chest. Officer Davis made notes. Mr. Hartwell, this appears to be racial profiling. We'll need to file a report. Richard stood, walked to the window, stared out at Fifth Avenue for a long moment. When he turned back, his expression was grim. Ms. Robertson, I owe you more than an apology. This is inexcusable. He looked at Karen. You're terminated. Effective immediately. Karen's face crumpled. Mr. Hartwell, please. Leave your keys and go, but I was just trying to protect you. Profiled a customer based on race. You called the police on a woman for shopping. You've exposed this company to a discrimination lawsuit. His voice was granite. Leave now. Karen's eyes filled with tears. This isn't fair. Fair? Maya's voice was quiet but lethal. You want to talk about fair? You saw me walk into your store and immediately assumed I was a criminal. You questioned me, accused me, and called the police. You humiliated me in front of strangers. And now you want fairness? Karen had no answer. She gathered her purse, walked to the door, paused. I didn't mean... Yes, Maya interrupted. You did. Karen left. The door closed behind her. The office felt too quiet after Karen's departure. Maya stood near the desk, arms wrapped around herself. The adrenaline was draining away, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Richard Hartwell watched her with careful eyes. Ms. Robertson, I want to make this right. Maya almost laughed, almost. How? Formal apology. Staff training. Policy review. Whatever you need. What I need, Maya said slowly, is to not be seen as a threat every time I walk into a store. Richard had no response to that. Neither did the officers. Neither did Marcus, though his hand briefly touched her shoulder. The teenager appeared in the doorway. "Ms. Robertson? I sent you the video. Your email was on your business card." Maya nodded. "Thank you." "My mom's black," the girl said quietly. "This happens to her all the time. Usually no one does anything about it." The words hit like stones. Usually no one does anything. Maya thought of all the times she'd stayed silent, swallowed indignities, smiled through microaggressions. She thought of everyone who didn't have attorneys on speed dial, who didn't have corporate credentials, who couldn't fight back. The weight of it pressed down on her chest. Richard cleared his throat. "I'll be implementing mandatory anti-bias training for all staff, and I'll personally oversee a review of our hiring practices." "That's a start," Marcus said, his lawyer voice professional, distant. Officer Davis closed his notepad. "Ms. Robertson, you can file a formal complaint with the Civilian Complaint Review Board. We'll include this incident in our report." Maya nodded. Felt hollow. She'd won, in a sense. Karen was fired. Richard was scrambling. The footage was preserved, but she was so tired, tired of proving her humanity, tired of being excellent to earn basic respect, tired of carrying her father's lessons like armor, because the world refused to see her as anything but suspicious. "I'd like to go home," she said quietly. Marcus touched her arm. "I'll walk you out." Richard moved toward her, stopped. "Ms. Robertson, I am deeply sorry. This should never have happened." Maya met his eyes, saw genuine distress there, also calculation, also self-preservation. "No," she agreed. "It shouldn't have." She walked out of the office, through the boutique, past the security cameras that had captured her humiliation, past the counter where she'd been accused, past the door that had felt like prison. Outside, Fifth Avenue was golden with late afternoon light. People walked past, oblivious. The world kept turning. Maya stopped on the sidewalk, closed her eyes, breathed. Marcus stood beside her, silent. "I just wanted to buy my mother a scarf," she whispered. "I know. I did everything right. I was polite, professional, I had receipts. And still, I know." The tears came then. Not sobs, just quiet streams down her cheeks. Marcus pretended not to notice, gave her space, stayed close enough that she wasn't alone. After a moment, Maya wiped her face, straightened her blazer, found her center, her father's voice. "This isn't about you falling apart. It's about you fighting back." She wasn't done yet. Maya's phone buzzed. Email from the teenager. Subject line, evidence. She opened it. 3 video files, different angles. Complete documentation of the encounter. Maya forwarded them to her personal cloud. To Marcus, to herself again for backup. Evidence protected. Marcus was making calls. "Yes, Civil Rights Commission. I need to file a formal complaint. Racial profiling. Retail establishment." He covered the phone. "You sure you want to proceed?" This will be public, Maya thought about it. Going public meant scrutiny. Questions. Her name attached to racial profiling incident in search results forever. But staying silent meant Karen would do this to someone else. Meant Belmont and Grace would issue a quiet apology and change nothing. Meant the next black woman would face the same suspicion. "I'm sure," she said. Marcus nodded. Continued his call. Maya's phone rang. "Unknown number," she answered cautiously. "Ms. Robertson? This is Catherine Mills. I'm a reporter with the Times. I heard about an incident at Belmont and Grace. Would you be willing to comment?" Maya's stomach dropped. "How did you hear about this?" "A witness reached out, said you were racially profiled and the police were called. The teenager, or the elderly woman, or someone else who'd been recording. The story was already escaping her control." Catherine continued, "I'm writing a piece about racial profiling in upscale retail. Your incident fits a pattern. 3 similar cases in Manhattan this month alone. 3 cases this month. The weight of systemic racism felt crushing. I need to think about it," Maya said. "Of course. But Ms. Robertson, if you don't tell your story, someone else will." Better to control your own narrative. Maya hung up. Looked at Marcus. He'd finished his call. That was the Civil Rights Commission. They want to investigate. They're requesting the security footage and incident reports. A reporter just called me. Marcus's eyebrows rose. Already? This is going to blow up, isn't it? Probably. Marcus studied her face. You can still walk away. Take Richard's apology. Move on. Maya thought of her father, of his last case against discriminatory stores, of the settlement that had changed corporate policies. She thought of the teenager who'd recorded everything, the elderly woman who'd witnessed, the other black customers who wouldn't speak up. She thought of Karen, fired but not facing real consequences. Free to do this again somewhere else. No, Maya said. We proceed. Full investigation. Media statement if necessary. I want this documented. I want accountability. Marcus smiled slightly. Your father would be proud. He'd be furious this happened in the first place. That too. Maya pulled up her contacts. Found her mother's number. She should hear this directly. Not from news reports or gossip. The phone rang. Her mother answered on the third ring. Baby, aren't we meeting for dinner? Mom, something happened today. Maya's voice wavered. I'm okay, but I need to tell you something, she explained. All of it, the boutique, Karen, the 911 call, the humiliation, the evidence, the decision to file a complaint. Her mother was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was thick. You did the right thing. It's going to be public. Good, let them see. Let everyone see what we deal with. I'm sorry I didn't get your birthday gift, her mother laughed, a sound between joy and pain. Baby girl, you gave me something better. You gave me proof that you're your father's daughter. That you fight back? Maya's eyes burned. I love you, Mom. I love you too. Come for dinner. We'll celebrate your victory. It doesn't feel like victory, not yet. But it will. Maya hung up. Turned to Marcus. What's next? We prepare. The Civil Rights Commission will investigate. The media will likely pick this up. Richard Hartwell will try to control the narrative. We need to be ready. I am ready. Marcus squeezed her shoulder. I know you are. They walked toward the subway. Maya glanced back at Belmont and Grace. The boutique glowed in the evening light. Beautiful, expensive, exclusive, and for one black woman today, completely hostile. Tomorrow Maya would file her complaint. She'd speak to reporters if necessary. She'd push for systemic change. But tonight she was going home. To her mother, to family, to the people who saw her as human first. The fight was just beginning. 3 weeks later, Maya sat in a conference room at the Civil Rights Commission. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The walls were institutional beige. A panel of 3 investigators sat across from her. Marcus was beside her. Richard Hartwell was at the far end of the table, flanked by his own attorneys. The boutique's new manager was present. So were Officer Davis and his partner. The lead investigator, a woman named Dr. Patricia Shaw, opened a folder. We've reviewed the evidence. Security footage from 3 angles. Audio recordings. Police reports. Witness statements. Ms. Robertson, the documentation you provided was comprehensive. Maya nodded. Stayed silent. Dr. Shaw looked at Richard. Mr. Hartwell, your former employee, Karen Duval, called 911 on a customer for carrying a shopping bag. The audio clearly identifies race as the primary factor in her suspicion. How do you respond? Richard leaned forward. Karen Duval's actions don't represent our company values. She was terminated immediately. We've implemented mandatory anti-bias training for all staff. We've revised our customer service protocols. Those are corrective measures, Dr. Shaw said, but they don't address the root cause. Why was Ms. Duval comfortable engaging in racial profiling? What in your store culture enabled this behavior? Richard's attorneys whispered to him. He cleared his throat. We're committed to examining our practices. That's not an answer, Marcus interrupted. Let me rephrase. How many black customers has your store employed over the past 5 years? Silence. How many black managers? More silence. How many times have you reviewed security footage to check if staff were disproportionately surveilling black customers? Richard's face went pale. We haven't formally reviewed. Exactly. Marcus pulled out a document. I've obtained data from 6 other upscale boutiques on Fifth Avenue. All reported similar incidents. All involved black customers. All involved accusations without evidence. This isn't an isolated problem. It's a pattern. Dr. Shaw made notes. Mr. Hartwell, discrimination doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when systems fail to prevent it. When hiring practices don't prioritize diversity. When staff aren't trained to recognize bias. When incidents aren't tracked or addressed. Richard looked at Maya. Ms. Robertson, I want to make this right. Maya had been silent through most of the hearing, letting Marcus present the case, letting the evidence speak. But now she leaned forward. Mr. Hartwell, do you know what the hardest part was? Her voice was steady. Not the accusation. Not the humiliation. It was the afterward. When I had to explain to my 70-year-old mother why I couldn't buy her a birthday gift. When I had to tell her I'd been called a criminal for shopping. When I saw the look on her face, not surprise, just tired recognition. Because she's been through this too, for 70 years. Richard's expression cracked. You want to make this right? Maya continued. Then commit to real change. Not just training. Not just revised protocols. Hire black staff. Promote black managers. Track incidents by race. Publish your data. Make your store a place where someone like me can shop without being treated like a threat. I will, Richard said quietly. I promise. Dr. Shaw looked up. Those promises need to be formalized. Mr. Hartwell, this commission is recommending a consent decree. Belmont and Grace will undergo a comprehensive bias audit. You'll implement the changes Ms. Robertson described. You'll report to this commission quarterly for 2 years, and you'll pay a substantial fine, which will go toward community organizations fighting retail discrimination. Richard's attorneys whispered urgently. He silenced them with a hand. I accept the terms, Dr. Shaw nodded. Ms. Robertson, thank you for your testimony. Your documentation made this case airtight. Without it, we'd have competing narratives and no clear resolution. Maya thought of her father, of his insistence on evidence, on documentation, on fighting back with facts. My father taught me to always have proof, she said quietly. He taught you well, the hearing concluded. Papers were signed, terms were set. Richard Hartwell left looking diminished. His attorneys looked grim. Outside the building, Marcus turned to Maya. You did it. Real accountability. Real change. Maya looked up at the gray sky. One store, one incident, thousands more to go. Yes, but you started something. The Times article got picked up nationally. Other stores are reviewing their policies. People are paying attention. Maya smiled slightly. Dad always said change starts with one person refusing to stay silent. He was right. They walked toward the subway. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from her mother. Proud of you, baby girl. Another text. From the teenager who'd recorded the incident. You're a hero. Maya wasn't sure about hero. She was just a woman who'd refused to accept injustice. Who'd documented everything. Who'd fought back. Sometimes that was enough. 6 months later, Maya stood outside Belmont and Grace. She hadn't been back since the incident. The boutique looked the same. Crystal chandeliers, elegant displays. But something was different. A sign in the window. We're committed to inclusive service. Learn about our pledge. Maya pushed open the door. A young black woman stood behind the counter. She looked up, smiled. Welcome to Belmont and Grace. Can I help you find anything? Maya's throat tightened. Just browsing. She walked to the scarf display. The lavender one was still there. She touched the silk. Remembered the last time she'd stood here. The accusations, the fear, the humiliation, but also the fight, the victory, the change. The new manager approached. An older woman with kind eyes. Ms. Robertson? Maya tensed. Yes? I'm Jennifer Cho. I took over after. The incident. I wanted to say thank you. Because of you, we've completely overhauled our training. We've hired diverse staff. We're better now. Maya studied her face, saw sincerity there, also discomfort, the weight of inherited shame. I'm glad, Maya said carefully. But this shouldn't have taken someone getting hurt. I know. You're right. Jennifer gestured to the scarf. That one's on the house, please, for your mother. Maya shook her head. I'll pay for it. That's not what this was about. I understand. At the counter, the young black woman rang up the purchase. This is a beautiful choice, she said. Her name tag read Simone. It's for my mother, Maya said. Her birthday was 6 months ago. Simone's smile was knowing. Better late than never. Maya paid. Took the elegant bag. Turned to leave. At the door she paused. Looked back. Saw Simone behind the counter, confident and comfortable. Saw Jennifer managing the floor with careful attention. Saw customers browsing without suspicion. It wasn't perfect. One store couldn't fix systemic racism. One victory couldn't erase centuries of discrimination, but it was something. A crack in the wall. A seed planted. That evening Maya visited her mother, presented the lavender scarf with ceremony. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. She wrapped the silk around her shoulders. It's perfect. I'm sorry it took so long. Baby, some gifts are worth the wait. Her mother touched Maya's face. Your father would be so proud. Not just for fighting back, for winning. Maya thought of her father, imagined him watching from wherever spirits rested. Hoped he was proud. Hoped he knew his lessons had mattered. I learned from the best, she said. Her mother hugged her tight. The lavender scarf wrapped around them both. A symbol of struggle and triumph, of dignity reclaimed, of justice hard won. Maya closed her eyes. Felt her father's presence in the embrace. Felt the weight of generations who'd fought similar battles. Felt the responsibility to keep fighting. The work wasn't done, would never be fully done. But tonight in her mother's arms, wearing a scarf purchased without suspicion, Maya felt something like peace. Late that night, Maya sat at her father's old desk. She'd inherited it after he died, mahogany scarred from decades of legal work. She opened her laptop, drafted an email to the teenager who'd recorded the incident, to the elderly woman who'd witnessed, to Officer Davis who'd treated her with respect, to Marcus who'd stood beside her. Thank you for seeing me as human, for refusing to look away, for understanding that silence protects no one. She thought about the path from that day in the boutique to this quiet evening, the fear, the fight, the victory, the ongoing work. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. Another retail discrimination case. A black teenager accused of shoplifting. Security footage proving innocence. But this time, the store manager faced immediate consequences. The article referenced Maya's case as precedent, one case inspiring another, one voice amplifying others, one refusal to stay silent creating ripples. Maya closed her laptop, walked to the window. New York glittered below, 1,000 stories playing out in real time, some ending in justice, some not, all mattering. She thought of everyone who'd been profiled and stayed silent, everyone who lacked resources to fight back, everyone who swallowed dignity to survive. She thought of her father's legacy, not perfection but persistence, not winning every battle but refusing to stop fighting. Maya picked up her phone, typed a message to her mother. I love you. Thank you for teaching me to stand tall. The response came immediately. You were born standing tall, baby. I just reminded you, Maya smiled. Set down her phone, looked at her father's photograph on the desk, him in his courtroom suit, eyes full of fire and purpose. I kept fighting, Dad, she whispered. Just like you taught me. The city hummed beyond her window. Somewhere another person was being profiled, accused, diminished. But maybe, just maybe, they'd remember stories like Maya's. They'd document everything. They'd refuse to stay silent. They'd fight back, because dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not earned through perfection. And sometimes justice arrives not through grand gestures, but through one person with evidence, courage, and the refusal to accept anything less than their humanity. Maya turned off the light. Tomorrow she'd return to work, to meetings and reports and corporate politics, but she'd carry this with her, proof that standing up matters, that one voice can create change, that her father's lessons weren't just about surviving discrimination, but about dismantling it. The lavender scarf hung in her closet now, a symbol of pain transformed into purpose, a reminder that some battles are worth fighting, even when they're exhausting. Especially then. Maya closed her eyes, felt her father's pride like warmth. She'd honored his legacy, and in doing so had created her own.